1. Introduction. My name is Annabella. I am 30 years old. I live in a large, beautiful house now. Every morning I sit at the breakfast table. I watch my husband, Paul. He is 65 years old. He always reads the newspaper while he drinks his tea. His hair is completely gray, like winter snow. I look at his hands. They have many, many lines. They show his age. Paul is much older than me. The age difference is 35 years. When we walk outside, I notice people looking at us. They stop talking for a moment. They watch us walk past. They whisper things to their friends. I can almost hear their thoughts. They are thinking, "Why is that young woman with that old man?" Sometimes they think Paul is my father. Sometimes they think he is my grandfather. I feel their judgment, but I try to ignore it. I married Paul 2 years ago. This was a big change for me. Before I met Paul, my life was very hard. I had no money. I was often hungry. I lived alone in a small, cold room. I felt very lonely all the time. I was desperate for help and for a place to be safe. Paul saved me from that life. Paul is a wealthy man. He has much money and many good things. More importantly, he is a very kind man. He saw my problems and he helped me immediately. He offered me a safe, warm home. He promised me security and comfort. I married him for this safety and for this comfort. I did not marry him for romantic love. This is the simple truth of our marriage. I respect Paul deeply. He is a true gentleman in every situation. He is always polite and thoughtful towards me. He never shouts or gets angry. He is patient and gentle. He gives me everything I need to live well. I am thankful for his great kindness every single day. But thankfulness is not the same as passion. I like Paul very much. I enjoy his company. I respect his good heart and his kind actions. But when I look at him, I do not feel a strong, burning fire in my heart. There is no excitement or romance. My heart is quiet when I am with him. I know this is a difficult situation. I am a young woman, and I often feel like I should experience passion. But I do not. I have a good, kind husband, but I do not have a lover. Our marriage is built on respect and on my past need, not on true romance. This big difference, the lack of fire, often makes me feel lonely, even inside our beautiful, large house. 2. People look at us. One evening, Paul and I decided to go out. We planned to eat dinner at a very fancy restaurant. I wanted to look nice for Paul. I put on a beautiful, long red dress. It was silk and expensive. Paul wore his best gray suit. He looked smart, but he moved slowly. He was having trouble with his back that day. He often had pain because of his age. Walking from the car to the restaurant door took a long time. When we entered the restaurant, it was very busy. Many people were eating and laughing. A young man, the waiter, came to greet us. He was very tall and wore a clean white shirt. He smiled at Paul first. "Good evening, sir," the waiter said happily. "A table for two. We have a nice table ready for you and your daughter." I heard the word daughter, and my face turned hot. A deep red color moved up my neck to my cheeks. I felt a sudden, terrible shame. I wanted to run away. I wanted to hide under the table and disappear. People often thought this, but hearing it said out loud by a stranger always hurt me deeply. Paul noticed my sudden silence. He stayed very calm. He is a gentleman and never gets angry about small things. He looked at the waiter and smiled kindly. "Thank you for the table," Paul said, "but she is my wife, not my daughter." The young waiter looked truly shocked. His mouth opened slightly. He quickly apologized, maybe 3 times. He looked nervous and worried that he had made Paul angry. He started walking quickly to show us our table. As we followed him, I felt the eyes of everyone in the room. They were all looking at us. They saw my young, red face and Paul's old, gray head. They stopped their conversations to watch us walk by. I felt like I was walking in a spotlight. I felt like a walking scandal. I knew they were judging me. They were thinking, "Why is that young woman with that old man? She must only want his money." This feeling of being judged was heavy. It made the nice restaurant feel cold. Paul sat down and took my hand under the table. His hand was large and warm. He tried to give me comfort without speaking. I looked at the menu, but I could not focus. I just wanted to leave the restaurant. I realized that even in a very nice, expensive place, we could not escape people's opinions. We could not escape the looks. It was a difficult way to start a dinner. I wished we had just stayed home in our quiet house. 3. A quiet life. We live a quiet life now. Our days follow the same routine. Paul is a retired architect. He spends his time in his study. He likes to draw pictures there. He works on his drawings for many hours every day. I spend my days alone. I often go shopping in the city. I like to read many books too. Our house has a very big pool. I often swim in the pool when the weather is warm. It is a perfect life in many ways. I have comfort and safety, but I feel lonely. Paul and I sleep in the same room, but our relationship is very polite. We do not laugh loudly or have much fun together. Paul is always kind to me. He is a true gentleman. He kisses me on the cheek when he leaves the study. He rarely kisses me on the lips. I start to feel restless inside the house. I look in the mirror often. I am only 30 years old. I see my young face looking back at me. I think about my youth. I ask myself, is this my whole life now? I feel like I am stuck in a beautiful place. I feel trapped in a cage. But this cage is made of gold. It is safe and rich, but I cannot leave it easily. I have everything I need. I have a safe home and money, but I do not have excitement. I think about people my own age. They go out and dance. They have loud, exciting lives. My life is very quiet. My life is like a calm, still lake. Paul gives me kindness every day. Kindness is good, but kindness is not passion. I respect Paul very much, but respect does not make my heart beat fast. I wish for passion sometimes. I wish for a little danger or something new to happen. Every day is calm. Paul is happy with this slow rhythm. He enjoys his drawing and his quiet tea time in the afternoon. I try very hard to enjoy it too. I read many books to pass the time. I walk around the big, perfect garden. I feel like time moves very slowly here. Paul is a good man, and I know he saved me from poverty. But my heart is quiet, just like our large house. I feel trapped by the safety he gave me. I want something more than just safety. I want to feel alive before all my youth is gone. For the big party. Paul received an invitation to a big summer party. It was held at an art gallery. The gallery was full of lights and noise. Many rich and famous people attended the event. I stood next to Paul. I felt a little nervous because everyone looked so important. Paul is an architect, even though he is retired. He knows many people in the city. We walked slowly around the room. Paul smiled at his old friends. I tried to smile too, but I felt very young next to everyone. Suddenly, a young man walked toward us. He was tall and handsome. He looked like an artist. His clothes were fashionable and his hair was long. He stopped right in front of us. "Good evening, Paul," the young man said. His voice was deep. "And who is this beautiful woman?" Paul introduced him. "Annabella, this is Julian. He is a very talented painter." Julian took my hand. He held it gently and then he kissed it. His lips felt warm on my skin. He did not let go immediately. He looked into my eyes for a long time. I felt my heart beat faster in my chest. This kind of attention was new to me. Paul never looked at me with such fire. Paul did not notice the long look. He smiled and said, "I need a drink, Annabella. Are you thirsty? I will go and get 2 glasses of champagne." "Yes, please, Paul," I answered. Paul walked away slowly through the crowd. He moved carefully because of his back pain. Julian and I were left alone. Julian leaned in close to me. He had a charming smile, but his eyes were serious. "You are very beautiful, Annabella," he whispered. "I have a question for you." I waited. I felt a strange excitement. "What is a beautiful flower doing with an old gardener?" he asked. His question was very rude. It was not polite, but I did not feel angry. I felt a dangerous thrill. This was the kind of excitement I had missed in my quiet life. Julian was young and he was exciting. He made me feel alive. He waited for my answer, still holding my gaze. I did not know what to say. I just stood there, looking at the handsome artist, feeling the loud music and the heat of the party all around us. I wanted to move away, but I could not. I looked toward the place where Paul had gone, but I could not see him yet. The moment felt long and full of possibility. Julian waited patiently for my response to his shocking question. 5. The young man. The music was loud inside the gallery. Annabella needed quiet air. She walked outside to the terrace. The night air was cool on her skin. She looked up at the moon. Julian came out quickly. He closed the glass door softly. He walked to Annabella and stood very close to her. He was tall and very handsome. Annabella could feel the heat from his body. Julian spoke in a low voice. "You should leave him," he said. His words were soft but strong. "Come away with me. We can find happiness." He moved nearer. "You are too young for this quiet life. We can have fun together. Think about all the adventures we can share." Julian reached out and touched her arm lightly. His skin was warm and young. Annabella felt a thrill. She was excited by his youth. Julian was the secret excitement she had missed. She felt a strong temptation to agree with him. She thought about leaving Paul. Annabella did not answer Julian right away. She looked through the big glass window. She looked inside the bright room where the party was still happening. She saw many people talking and laughing. Then she saw Paul. Paul was standing far in the corner. He was alone. He was not talking to anyone. He was slowly looking around the room. He was looking for her. He looked very tired. He seemed small in the large, noisy room. His shoulders were slightly bent. Seeing him alone was strange. Annabella saw his age clearly now. Before, she felt shame when people looked at them. Now she felt something different. She did not feel shame. She felt a sudden need to protect him. Her heart hurt a little bit. She realized Paul needed her. Julian waited for her answer. He smiled confidently. He thought she would say yes. Annabella looked from Paul back to Julian. Julian was fire and danger. Paul was safety and warmth. 6, my choice. Julian was still standing very close to me on the terrace. He waited for my answer. I looked at his young face. He was handsome, but I suddenly felt that he was not important. I thought about what he offered me: excitement and fun. Then I looked again through the glass window at Paul inside the room. Paul was 65 years old. He looked tired and small in the big, noisy gallery. He was still looking for me. I saw his gray hair and his hands with many lines. He looked vulnerable and alone. A strong, protective feeling came into my heart. Paul was kind to me. He was safe. He needed me in his life. I knew that Julian did not need anyone but himself. My choice became very clear at that moment. I pulled my arm away from Julian quickly. I took a step back from him. Julian looked surprised when I moved away. "He is my husband," I said to Julian. My voice was very firm. I looked him directly in the eye. "Paul is a gentleman. He is a good man." "He is a better man than you are, Julian." Julian tried to smile. "Come on, Annabella. Do not be silly. You want passion, not safety." He tried to reach for my hand again. I shook my head. "You do not understand anything about me," I told him. I turned away from the handsome artist. I left him alone on the cold terrace. I walked fast back into the warm gallery room. I needed to find Paul quickly. I saw him standing near a large painting. He was still alone. When he saw me walking toward him, his face changed completely. The sadness disappeared. His face became very happy. He smiled a big smile, full of great relief. I reached him and put my hand on his arm. He held my hand tightly against his side. "I thought I lost you, Annabella," Paul said quietly. His voice was shaking a little bit. "I truly thought you might leave me tonight because of my age." I looked at him. I saw his true fear. He knew about the big age difference between us. He knew that people judged us. He knew that I was young and could choose a different life. But he loved me enough to fear losing me. "I know I am old," Paul continued, still holding my hand. "I know it is hard for you to be my wife sometimes. I saw that young man talking to you outside. I was very afraid that you would leave." His honesty touched my heart deeply. I realized that my choice was not about money anymore. It was about loyalty and connection. I squeezed his hand to show him my answer. I knew I had made the right choice. I stayed right there by his side for the rest of the evening. 7. Real love. We left the gallery party and drove home. The journey was quiet. We did not speak one word in the car. It was a new kind of silence. It was not the usual quiet of our polite life. It was a silence filled with shared understanding. I looked out the window at the dark trees passing by quickly. I felt calm and sure about my choice. When we arrived at the house, we went inside. We walked straight to our bedroom. Paul started to prepare for bed. He began to take off his suit jacket and loosen his tie. I stopped him softly. I did not go to the bathroom to change my beautiful red dress immediately. I walked across the room to where Paul was standing. I reached out and took his hands. I held them tightly. These were the hands that gave me security. They were old hands, full of lines, but they were the kindest hands I knew. I looked into his eyes for a long time. I saw past the gray hair and the tired look. I saw his soul. I saw the deep love he had for me. I understood something new about happiness. I had always thought that real love meant drama and excitement. I had thought that safety was the opposite of love. But I realized now that Paul's safety was actually a form of deep, true love. His patience and his steady care were precious. I knew I did not need the temporary fire that the young artist, Julian, offered. I moved closer to him. I lifted my face to his. I wanted to kiss him with all my new feelings. I had never kissed him like this before. It was not a quick, formal kiss on the cheek. I kissed him on the lips. The kiss was long and very slow. It was the first kiss of real passion in our marriage. Paul was truly surprised. He stopped moving and stood still for a moment. Then He put his strong arms around me. He held me tightly against his chest. His embrace felt like the safest place in the world. In that close moment, the age difference between us did not matter at all. I did not see an old man and a young woman. We were simply two people holding each other. The years disappeared. That night was very special. I stayed in his arms. I felt completely safe. I did not feel lonely anymore. I knew my heart was finally home. 8, a new day. The sun came up slowly. Light filled the bedroom. I woke up first and looked at my husband. Paul was sleeping peacefully next to me. He looked very calm. I watched him breathe deeply. I felt a quiet, deep happiness that morning. It was a new morning, truly a new day for us both. The air was fresh and clean. The room was quiet, and only the sound of Paul breathing filled the space. It was a deep, restful sound. This peacefulness was what I needed all along. I looked at his gray hair and the lines on his face. These lines were part of him now. They told the long story of his kind life. Yesterday, I thought about his age too much. I worried about what other people thought. Today, I did not care about the years between us. Something important changed in my heart during the night. Before, I felt like a young girl searching for excitement. Now, I felt like a strong woman. I realized I had grown up very quickly. The temptations of the past disappeared completely. I thought about the handsome artist, Julian. His face was beautiful, but his words were empty. His offer was just a dangerous flash. I dismissed his memory easily, like smoke in the wind. I also dismissed the memory of the young waiter at the restaurant. His judgment was not important. People will always look at us and talk about us, but their words do not change my truth. I used to think love must be a huge storm. I thought it needed fire and drama every single day. That is often what the movies and books show us. But real life is different from fiction. I understood now that real love is gentle. It is quiet. It is patience shown every day. It is caring for someone when they are tired or hurt. It is feeling completely safe next to them when the world outside is loud. I married Paul for security 2 years ago. That was my first reason. But today, I stayed because I wanted to be here. I chose him again this morning. I chose his quiet strength and his kind heart over a dangerous thrill. I chose him over the idea of being alone again. Paul moved slightly in his sleep. I smiled at him. I touched his hand gently so I did not wake him up. This life is good. It is real. I am not trapped in a golden cage. I am free to love a good man who loves me deeply. I am proud to be his wife. This is my new, quiet, and happy day.